Hi, John here. It's Monday, 15th of September 2014. Just an update on where we are, Matt Taylor, in Brighton, in England, and to the people who are watching this show, what's going on in Westminster, and also the yes vote of Scotland. It's going to make a big difference to us here in the Pacific, New Zealand in particular, where our titles that I want to talk a little bit about are affected by what Scotland does with the Droit Admiralty titles on these lands. 61 Cook Street in Auckland here. It's a very intense subject at this point in time with monarchy and the means of how people got onto the lands from England to the India, East India, and to Africa and to America, Canada, Australia and New Zealand. They're all affected by this title from King William, the 4th Admiralty. There are other Admiralties in the world, but not this one that's connected to Queen Victoria. Is born out of King William the 4th only, and from King William the 3rd. And all the other kings do not have these conveyancing instruments that are linked to the monarchy of Westminster. So we're only talking about that king and no other king at this stage, where I want to explain myself as why we are passionate about King William and what he did. He was a people's man of the common law, and that's what's being hidden by Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth when they succeeded to his monarch, sovereign title only, not the contract, not the commercial lien contracts that King William set up with these flags of trading, and the bank involved and the military wrapped up in one flag. So it's still there, Matt, it's still there in Westminster, in the lower house, House of Commons, ready to go into the House of Lords, in the upper House of Lords. And that's our job, to do that, to legislate the flag through. It was legal at the time the government here legislated it to get their not so much Declaration of Independence, but their ability to self-govern under Section 71 of the Constitution, the British UK 1852 Constitution. There's one before that, but it was the 1852 Constitution that linked this flag into existence at that time. So our basis of claims to King William is still extant, fixed in Westminster Parliament forevermore. No one can change that but us, the descendants of our chiefs who signed the agreement, contract with King William. Okay, so that's all documented. That's still there as a King's Bench. They legislated an act out. They legislated the King's Bench out, and then they legislated it back in again, because they could not break the monarchy down the line of King Edward and then to King William. That's it. These days, that's where you're going to start from, not any other king, as far as commerce goes, as far as the banks go, the Admiralty mortgage that the Vatican is using, and also the Rothschild banks are using this Droit Admiralty of King William. There is only him that drafted that and made that possible to convert high seas titles of Admiralty to ship from one place to the other on HM Customs to HM Treasury. So that's what we're using. We're using those instruments of contracts, private contracts and commercial contracts is what we're all about. So that's why it's taken me a long time to put that together. And so Matt will be there to be with you and go into Westminster from Plymouth. I'll be in Plymouth to open up his King's Court in the Queen's Bench Court there. That's his legacy, and then take that into Westminster because that was his castle as well, and his family. So his family line comes through there, so we'll just walk straight in there with our passport, which is his flag. Okay, they cannot stop us as a native to him to go in there. All their legacy in Westminster is under this flag, and so David Cameron will have egg on his face when the Yes Party, Yes vote of Alex Salmond succeeds. So that means Scotland then is a singled out country, just like New Zealand is a singled out country with 4.5 million people. So Scotland's got 5 million people, so they're a standalone country in Westminster. And so you've got Ireland with HRH Prince Regent Geoffrey Foley, Lord High Constable, and Magistrate of Lord Hayden Castle. So he'll be going in there as well to make claim to the Crown throne, as well as you've got Greg Howlett and the Manuel family. They've got a claim to the throne as well that I know. These are only the ones I know. John Patterson has got a claim to the throne as well. So unless I see their paperwork, I only see Jeff Foley on our documents now on our site, which is admissible in the High Court of Admiralty in London. Judge David Lindsay Mackey. That's all fixed. All these documents and the lawyer and everything that the police have here, the Serious Fraud Office has here, the Serious Fraud Office in London, is all on record. It's on record. Okay, so we can go to it any time and pluck it out and blow it up on Facebook, onto the screen in the High Court, any High Court, and as evidence. Okay, so we're just saying that in Westminster, Alex Salmond, if he succeeds, which I think he will, judging by what I'm seeing online, gaining popularity in his yes vote. So when he gets in there, then I'm expecting him to allow us to go in there, nominate us in there with this flag of King William to put the Admiralty part to go and trade around the world, because he hasn't got a flag that can go around the world one hit. You see, this one goes around the world with the Bank of England. So we're going to, I just saw this, Matt, he's doing an audit on the HM Treasury. This is Alex Salmond and others. I saw somebody else there doing an audit too, to see where the money's gone. You see, so the Queen is going to get caught. She's going to get caught with Hammond, Philip Hammond, and also with David Cameron, the Prime Minister. They'll get caught filling the books and for the money to go to the war and the ISIS, all those sort of things with Israel and America. So they'll get caught. The federal states will get caught, and their Supreme Courts will get caught with this Moai King William Court, King's Bench Court, is still under the Queen's Bench Court, right, today. I've checked all the acts. I've got all of you. You'll see the acts on my Facebook. They're going on to the warrant today for the private investigator, what's his name, Phil Jones. We've got Graham Hallett, but I think he's busy. So we've got 2 ex-UK detectives, and they work for the New Zealand police here as detectives as well. but Phil Jones worked for the Auckland Central police station, so that makes things quite interesting for them, because I rang up other ones and they all seem to know about this case. So Phil Jones comes from Westminster, in the bush there. I just forget what the name of the bush, up around Westminster there. Anyway, that area. And so that's closer where we're going to set ourselves up, Matt, with this guy. So he may travel with us there, straight there. So it's like home, close to home. Anyway, so that's Alex Salmon, Jeffrey Foley for Wales. Okay, so he'll bring the Wales to England. We'll be there for the England with King William, and take over the trust after it's getting audited. Now we can print our debtors to that figure you've seen, Matt, and you're publishing it. Thank you very much on your alternative news media with SOS Party. So thanks for that. Just to get the word out that we are for real, and we'll be there to take our place as British citizens. Under this flag, we are British citizens. Okay, so I can go straight into Plymouth as a candidate, straight into Parliament, and straight into the Lords. Okay, to straighten this lot out and clean them all out. Matt, just like how you're saying, you're going to sack them all. Okay, sack them and rehire them. Okay, so they're just like the Parliament here. They're in trouble too with this fraud case on Cook Street with Chris Phillipson, the Treaty of Waitangi negotiator, and also the Attorney General is mixed up in this 61 Cook Street. Okay, he's really mixed up in it and put his name to it. Morris Williamson, all the people who are retired out of there are still in it. They're all in it, the whole lot of them. You'll see. Okay, so that's Alex Salmon, Wales, England. That's it. That's the original title holders of England, right? Back in England's hands. Okay, and Scotty's the title holders with the copyrights to these land blocks on 61 Cook Street, not the land information with the Queen side. So you got the Queen over there, New South Wales government, federal state, and the government here, man, is getting its federal state or its Supreme Court authority from Australia High Court. You see, so they're borrowing. They're still borrowing each other. The Australians are borrowing our 1993 Act, Te Ture Whenua Native Land Act, for their titles, because they don't have what we have, the rivers, the mountains, the people over here belong to this seabed, and there's trees and all that. They haven't got that in Australia. They've borrowed ours without asking us, the landowners, man. This is how rude they are. They're going to get a big bill for it. Okay, and so we're saying with 61 Cook Street, that government in Wellington, government in exile, okay, put their own titles on 61 Cook Street and left out William Cornwallis Simons. Okay, he was the one that came here with the titles, the Manukau Land Company from Glasgow. Okay, with the Droits, Admiralty, surveys mark on the land. Okay, so it doesn't appear on their land titles, these Australian land titles here, right? On 61 Cook Street. That's the argument. They can't get away from who they bought it off. You see, the people who they bought it off weren't the right owners or the right chiefs. You see, it was a Manukau chiefs at that time that should have been on this title. Okay, it should have been. This is the one I gave the bank. I gave the bank this 61 Cook Street title, and there's a few books on it as well that I put together, a lot of information of it, and these are the Ratana church ministers. Okay, as you can see there, they're the ones that went up the One Tree Hill and claimed the title back with me. Okay, so we've got a whole lot of things. It's on Facebook, all of this. we've got Gordon Brown there with the Queen right back to 2008 when she signed the Lisbon Treaty. So that's all mixed up in this lot too. At the time they took that piece of land in 2008. That's when this document is dated from, the 10th of December 2008. The property was sold on the 11th of December 2008. You see, so how long ago this property was sold? So it's still supposed to have a limb report of every interest in the land. That's law. That's law under Section 145 Land Transfer Act 1952, that the conveyancers, lawyers, are supposed to check all interest in the title. You see? So if we go to court now, they'll all lose. So it's not worth going to court because it's a waste of money. They'll lose with this. Okay? And William Cornwallis Simon's title straight from Scotland. These titles were confiscated. The government Wellington's title was confiscated by this one. Okay? So that's the trouble with them. They think they can get away with fraud, and so that's where we're coming up against them. So there we go with Mohi Manukau and the Queen and the flag on that title that we sent to the government. Okay, we sent to the High Court of Admiralty in London, so they very well know that this is a real case, Matt and my mate Jamie, and so she's learning a lot too about what's happening with the land title. It's taken them 170 years to get this far, and it's taken me at least 5 years to do it. Okay, so there's Mohi Manukau there, people. That's him pointing to the stone memorial on One Tree Hill where John Logan Campbell is buried. Okay, so they pulled his chiefs out. They pulled his chiefs out of the hill and stuck a white man there. Right? So this is the guy that his name should have been on the title that I'm saying on 61 Cook Street. They wouldn't put it on because he's pointing there. I've got a plaque here for it. Right? I've got a plaque here because the other one's stolen and hidden by the Crown and Ngāti Whātua Aoraki, Hapu, the iwis have hidden that plaque, right? And they put a footpath, so you walk over Kawhuru the Giant's grave. They walk on it as a footpath, and that stone was the only stone on that hill with one tree before they went up there and demolished everything. Okay, so they're going to pay for that. Anyway, Mohi, before he died, told me, pull John Campbell down and put his ancestor back there, which is what's going to happen. Matt, we're going to restore things straight to England, how it was then, okay? Because that hill is the title to Auckland with the Moai statue. So you've got the memorial there and the memorial in the War Memorial that I filmed the other day to show you how a memorial goes together with a mortgage title to make up the conveyancing instrument to go and borrow money from the bank, right, to build your house and build your business. So anyway, while I'm on this subject, I'll finish off this. Now this was this has gone to the bank, okay? On Friday I went to the bank and gave that to the ANZ Bank, the biggest bank here in New Zealand and Australia. So I went there, so they've got these papers now. And so now they are locked into it. The same as the SFO, the Serious Fraud Office, is locked into it. I'm going to have to do some explaining. I'll explain the SFO after. But that's the letter from Choi, Yu Tai Ek Choi, the Kisi, who signed our letters to the High Court of Admiralty in London. I'm just telling you this so you know we have a real blown case going on here. And that's the one attached to it that he's signed with John Key. Right, the debtor, the levy debtor is John Key. Okay, we've just got his name on because he's the Prime Minister that committed the crime and libelled the Queen. Okay, so that's the seal of King William, okay, his memorial. But our letters have got his seal all over them. This is to the High Court of Admiralty in London, right? So these are really, really real instruments. New Zealand police must enforce these, you see. So these are part of the documentation. All of this, right, goes with just the title. And so we've got that one there of King William, of all the attached index of the jurisdiction over this whole affair. So, so Matt, we've got everything here, mate. That if you had to go to court, you'd be up against that. Okay, you'd be up against that. So we've got here. So I'm just finishing off the warrant I sent to Jamie, my assistant secretary, and also she's a private prosecutor. So I've sent her the warrant to finish it off today, and waiting for the private investigator to pick it up and go and get the property. Okay, it's past the 3 complaints that have gone into the High Court of Admiralty, to the government here, to the owners of the land, to the previous owners of the land, and so forth. And so it's had a 5 years of advertising. So in the whole 5 years, since 2008, since the 10th of December 2008, no one has refuted any of the over 3,000 affidavits made. So we've got the exhibits in here for that land block, and the claim forms as well, with Doug Rickard Bell there. So you'll see all this on Facebook to learn from how to do it. So I'm just saying, yeah, that it is a fraud prosecuting business that we're doing. These are just the titles for that land block and how it was corrupted and changed. So all the people's names are there. We've got this one here with the Queen right there in the box. Okay, the Queen. The Queen is wanted. We've got a warrant. This is a warrant. This is a warrant. This is a King's Bench warrant. Okay, it's a search and seizure warrant. Just this. So we've got another pack of it going behind with the acts on it of the 1840 acts of Britain, the same acts that they used here in New Zealand. Those ones are locked to us. And we've got the 1835 King William Acts, then we've got the 1965 Acts of New Zealand, and the 1973 Acts. All of those acts stuck with these warrants, just for one land block, man. That's not any birth certificates or any other ones yet. We've got all that coming yet. And so you've got John Key here, okay, just to show the people in the world. And then we've got Sean Elias, right, Chief Justice here in the Supreme Court here, right? She's the horse scammer. At that time, I took her to task with affidavits, and they just shut their mouth. She went to England and set up this deal with the Queen, and as the Supreme Governor of Church of England, to come here as a reinvented wolf in sheep's clothing. So we've got the whole of Parliament there, okay, in the dock box of the King's Bench Admiralty Court Martial Court. Okay, so we've got them with these seals. You see the seal here, that's the British Crown of King William, Crown and Anchor, and then you've got his seal of authenticating all these documents, and then you've got the Moai seal of God's jurisdiction, of truth. Truth, affidavit truth, is God, the face of God, God's spirit. Okay, so that completes the documentation. This seals these documents, Matt. Right, these 2 seals and the British Anchor of Admiralty. Okay, so that's King William's one, and then you've got a Moai one here for the business as well, down the bottom here. Okay, so then yeah, so you got Prince Regent Jeff Foley there, okay? I'm just telling you, this is really king stuff, okay? The turbines there beside me, right? That's our economy for our revenue, the royal revenue, King's Royal Revenue, and Westminster Parliament there, okay? So we're already dressed to go in there, Matt, and the flags along the top here, okay? So the seals, everything, all these documents with the seals around it authenticates the documents in the High Court, in the highest court in the world, Matt. Okay, that's all I want to say. It authenticates every document in a court, and the judge is a Queen's judge, and as long as he's got a Queen above his head, he's in trouble. Okay, we've got a king above our head, we're not in trouble. But he's subjected to her fraud, right? Linked to her fraud, or everybody else linked to the fraud, like this 61 Cook Street, right? Their documents have got the Queen's head on their courts, okay, and their land instruments are the Queen's head. So it's linked as to her default convicted criminal felon fraud case, right? So it's accessories. They're all in it one way or the other. So we've got the one we're talking about, the Her Majesty's Treasury, okay, that one. This is the book that Julian N. Falconer, he'll get caught. They'll go after him. And this guy, Martin Cicluna from the Lloyds Bank, right? So Lloyds Bank knew this was going on, and I got these from the Chambers of Commerce online. You see, a reputable, supposed to be a reputable company, where I got my confidence from those people advertising themselves there. So it doesn't matter. The name, Lloyd should have jumped in and told me. No, they didn't. They just let it run. And the same with the HM Treasury. They didn't do anything. I wrote to them, rang them up, and they still did nothing. Right? They wouldn't let me go anywhere near there. So there's something wrong there, Matt. And we're aiming to find out. I see now that Alex Salmon and others will do an audit on HM Treasury, and we are party to that. We are party to that Treasury being our commercial business partner. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say about that one. The fact that the lawyer Julian N. Falconer and the other guy was mixed up in that lot. So that's that. I just got the Serious Fraud Office now to read to you the letter from them. This is for people who haven't got Facebook on the East Coast here in New Zealand, where we're going to put our projects up with Tamati Reed. I was just talking to them yesterday just to let them know, and those other people, Rollins, Tangaroa Rollins, and then not to bother me too much, because we are going to go back there to Te Peto and put up the construction in the sea straight out there under our own titles. Right? The title that we're putting on Cook Street is a British Moai title, okay, an original Moai title with the same size of section on there. We're going to develop 61 Cook Street, and it's 115 stories high. We've got a method of building it. I've got my own designs. It'll go up very quickly and go right down below sea level, okay, just to let you know that that building is going under sea level right down through the hill, okay. It's like that. All our buildings are under the sea, right under the seabed and out, and that's how these constructions are built, under those plans I put together. And the submarine ships that you'll see on my site, those will be going around putting them up, okay, Matt, and very fast. We're going to have one in Dover there. Hopefully we can have a look when we come over and find a suitable site to put these constructions straight up. Okay, so I'll get the plans all done up. Once we get the bank through with our private investigator, hopefully today or tomorrow, maybe tomorrow if I've finished the warrant off. So I'll just go through this just to check the update on 61 Cook Street Bank, got the lawyer to sort out. Yeah, he's finished. The lawyer's set up already. And so, yes, I've got all that. Now, I just wanted the complaints. Matt, the last thing of all was you needed to have 3 complaints before seizing a property, and without going to their courts. Right? You don't go to their courts because their Solicitor General will take over the case and stymie it. Right? He'll make sure it doesn't go through, especially when you're dealing with 61 Cook Street at $5 billion. Okay, we're going to recover $5 billion from everyone involved in that fraud case. Okay, no matter what. No matter what, it's too late. It's already in trade. Okay, so the complaint to the Serious Fraud Office here in Auckland, New Zealand, they have indicated that they won't investigate this case simply because it looks like it's a conflict of interest with the government, suing the government. Okay, see, and more than one person, and bigger when it comes to the land mortgages. You see, something they can't do. The Serious Fraud Office cannot go near commercial private contracts. They will not want to entertain this one, man. Anyone, even the police told me, they're in Pasco, you know, the leader of the fraud squad, right, the terrorist squad. He says, I don't want to get in a contract with you, Mr. Wanoa. And so I'm waiting for the other guy, Gary Davey, to tell me the same thing. I don't want to get in a contract with you, Mr. Wanoa. So that what they'll do is they'll wait for the public to make a complaint to the police. Well, if the public, these 2 owners, James Brown and Simon Roundtree, if those 2, if you're listening to this video, you 2 people, you should have gone by now from that land. And if you ring up the police, then you'll pull them into a contract with yourself and me, okay, and Moai, and the King of England, okay, because they're watching. They are watching, Matt. Everybody's watching from that end, and even Scotland's watching because it's their copyright titles that are here on these lands. Overruns every other title, Matt. Right? If you know a thing or 2 about titles, right? Anyway, I don't need to say more than that. We have a wide audience around the world watching this case, and dare anyone makes a wrong move, because it'll cost everything you've got if you get mixed up in this lot. So all the Parliament here in Wellington, New Zealand, even if they retire, they're stuck with this contract. They are linked to it by association, right? And the 2, Simon Roundtree and James Brown, you're linked to the fraudster by association, by financial connection, okay, of conveyancing instruments. So the conveyancing lawyers have done the fraud. They are the ones that actually sold the property, man. Right? Not the land agents, but the land agents are the ones that physically sold it, but the lawyers were the one that transferred the title from the fraudster to these 2. Little be known, they should have known that it was too good to be true to get a cheap land for 38 million. Okay? You should have got about 60, 70 million for that property, and now it's been sold for about 300 million. That's what Doug Ricard Bell got. You see the fraud scam inside one title. Guess what? We're going to investigate every single title in Auckland, in this whole boundary, super city boundary area after that one. And then we're coming over to London and investigate those ones. Man, they're the same with the Queen's Head on it. Every title that's got the Queen's Head on it, and the droits of Admiralty, copyright. When Scotland goes, the copyright goes with them. You see, from Westminster, have got nothing. David Cameron will have no title, because we're going to seize his titles with this droits seal of King William. You see, that's why he gave it to us, because he didn't trust any of them. Alright? So anyway, just to finish off, so we've got Sarah Morris. The letter came in the email today. Dear Mr. Barrett, right? Somebody wrote to Mr. Barrett, and then it went to Sarah Morris, and then she posted it to me. This is Ann Tolley, the Minister of Police. For goodness sake, I wrote to. I want to talk to her, but you see, they don't want to get their leaders next to this. You see? Otherwise, when she goes, the lot of the system goes. Okay? So the letter's gone through at least 2 people to get to me from the 28th of August 2012 when I put the complaint into the Serious Fraud Office. So I just want to read it to you so that you can hear it if those people who haven't got Facebook. Okay? So just listen, bear with me because you've got my background now. So from the Serious Fraud Office, dated the 12th of September 2014, John Wanoa, Ngā Atua Iwa Aotea Limited. So we're dealing with limited companies here and corporations, right? Well, I'm a corporate person, okay, and a private person. I'm a corporate person in the sense with this corporate company to talk their language. You have to be that, otherwise they don't know who you are. Okay, so we've got 426x2 Tapora Street, Auckland 1010, sent by email, myenergy.com, myenergy@gmail.com. Dear Mr. Wanoa, complaint to the Serious Fraud Office, reference 2014-357. That's the reference number. I refer to your complaint received by the Serious Fraud Office on 4th of September 2014. The SFO is a highly specialised government agency that was established for the purpose of facilitating the investigation and prosecution of serious and complex financial crime. This is limited to dealing with criminal offences mostly under Part 10 of the Crimes Act 1961. The SFO evaluates each complaint against the following criteria to determine whether a formal investigation should be commenced. The financial value of the alleged fraud, usually in excess of $2 million. That's 1. 2. The strength of evidence to support the allegations made. 3. The number of victims impacted by the alleged fraud. And 4. The factual, legal and financial complexity of the alleged fraud, including whether you have supplied any documentation to support an allegation of serious or complex fraud. Now, this is what they responded by this. Based on an evaluation of the material you have provided, the SFO, Serious Fraud Office, has been unable to identify any evidence to suggest this is a matter that meets our criteria. Consequently, the SFO will not be commencing a formal investigation into your complaint. We recommend that you contact the Maori Land Court and with regard to this matter. You may also wish to obtain independent legal advice. While we will not be investigating your complaint, we thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. And then it's signed by somebody, Sincerely Evaluation and Intelligence Serious Fraud Office. No name. Okay, always no name. Just a signature. This is how dubious a letter from the department is. When you write to a minister, you get somebody else, just like the Queen. When you write to the Queen, you get somebody else. So she'll say, go and see the Governor-General. When you go to the Governor-General, will say, go and see the Queen. Well, we're going to end all of that racket. And I just wanted to point out here, Matt, that this letter here is telling me and the whole world that they're incompetent to deal with a big case like this that's riddled with fraud. And they're a serious fraud office that investigates fraud. They don't want to investigate it. If it was someone murdered them, they would have been in it by now. If I had to do a bad thing, then they would be in it. Even with all their photos there. Even with the Prime Minister they're implicated in the fraud, it's like it's invisible to them, right, as not a fraud, you see. So we're going to hear back from the Serious Fraud Office in London to see what they say, you see. And the High Court of Admiralty, I know they don't have to answer me because I've already told them, put it on the record. Put it on the record. If I need the High Court of Admiralty, Matt, I will tell them. But they know I'm conducting this court case with their court myself, online, on Facebook. They are a digital court, okay? They do cases like that from anywhere in the world. Anyone can go and apply online and put these forms in. These forms for the serious crimes, straight into the High Court of Admiralty, right? You can put them in and send them straight in, but not with all the pictures on it. I sent the ones with clear, otherwise it's invalid like that to them. But to us, it is the case as it is in King William's Court. It looks like that, right? All the facts are stuck in front of you, and you can deal with it within 2 hours. That's the limit of time, the minimum amount of time to do a court case. So all our cases, Matt, are 2-hour courses, right? Cases. So it wastes time. It doesn't waste time. You're either guilty or you're not. So we are proven guilty until they can prove they're not guilty, right? At the moment, everybody's guilty because none of them refuted any of this that you see online. So if you think an affidavit is something you don't have to do anything about, think twice again, man, because they have not done anything about it becomes law. And so all these affidavits on 61 Cook Street is law now. It's going to matter if the private investigators who were detectives before here take it up against, and that's what Phil Jones says, as long as it doesn't conflict, you see, as long as it doesn't conflict. Hang on, they already know it's a fraud. See, they already know it's a fraud, but they're going to be careful how they treat jurisdiction. Okay, so that's a bit long on this video, but I wanted to make myself clear to everybody watching this video in the world that this is no different on any other piece of land in the Commonwealth, America, and other countries who are linked to Britain. Okay, so Britain's changing now. It's falling apart. Right? It's falling apart. When Scotland goes, you might as well say that's all over. But that's how the Queen planned it. She wanted Westminster gone long ago when they started to wreck it off in the European Union Parliament with Gordon Brown. Right? They thought they would get away with the carbon credits. I know, I was right in the middle of that. I was right in the middle of the Foreshore and Seabed Act, that their businesses they set up with Helen Clark here. She's going to get a big bill. In fact, the new Westminster military will be after her, okay, and pull her back into the court, and she's gone. Everything she losed a lot with us, with the King's Court, okay? It's still there. I know. I've got all the acts there of the King, where the King sits. The King, right, Matt? Last thing. The King, without the King, the Queen of England will have no link. She can't take him off, because if she does, it takes her off the monarchy accession line, right? So that's why they put it back in place, because, and the other reason why is because he's got a contract with us. He was very clever to put this flag, Matt, together to keep us together, okay? And that's it. Everything is contract with this flag. Every contract in the world that's from Britain is in this flag, okay? And we are the keepers of this flag. We are the King, okay? Not the Queen. The Queen has no contract with us, okay? She has a contract with John Key and the Iwis, not the the Iwi and the Maoris, not the Hapu, with the Maoris and the Iwis in Wellington and New South Wales. you see, so they're coming through that door, the back door, through Victoria and Adelaide, King William's wife, you see, so they're coming through that way, but they don't have a flag of their own, right? They don't have, they're still sucking off the Queen's flag, the Navy flag that King William took around the world, okay? That's a Navy flag, that's a British protectorate for this flag, and the Navy is this black seal, right? The black seal around King George, right? King George is his brother, right? King George is the brother of King William, okay? So the two together with that black piece keeps out the Mongols, okay? It keeps out the devil, which is this red cross of King George and their families. So Queen Victoria, King William didn't like Queen Victoria's mother, and he kept her away, but alas, Queen Victoria got caught up in her mother's family, which you see the fraud now is all because of them. Okay, so we have to get rid of that. Kicked them out, Matt, out of Westminster with Alex Salmon, kicked the whole lot of them out, and Gordon Brown and David Cameron and Hammond out, right? And we'll start all over again. We'll be there soon as I get this land block sorted and our team together, but only Jamie and I will be going. But I mean the team here will be down at the East Cape with Tamati Reid. I'll be going down there. Tamati, if you're watching this video at Rangitukia, we'll be going down. I'll talk to the other guy today, difficulty from Dick today on Haha Station, right? I'll be sorting the government out that we're going straight off there into the sea, right? Most of our developments is right out in the ocean, right around the world with this flag. Yeah? We're going around the world and Tamati Reid, we're going around the world with this flag anywhere. We want to put these turbines up and poke holes in the seabed. This flag allows us to do that straight from Britain. So we are connecting the old Britain back together with Alex Salmon. He's a good man. He's a good man. That's what I can see. But have to be very careful how he does his pound note. There's copyrights on the pound note to Patterson's. John Patterson. Well, let's put all the arguments aside. Okay? With Matt, I think you understand that I wanted the four of you, and George Lees and Gordon Bowden with us, and put our differences aside. Okay? And let's get on with it in Westminster. We're coming there to do business, and that's all we're all about. Commercial, trading, bank, business. We'll sort the banks out. And where's the loss gone? So there's somebody there I saw on Facebook today, I think it's Alex Salmon, wants an audit, good on it, of the HM Treasury. You'll find there's zero in there. Just like what you said, George. There's zero in there. So I'm listening to your videos, the one you just did with John Patterson. Good, that's fine. I'm happy with that. And with what you guys are doing. So be ready when Jamie and I come there. We'll get the bit of land and Westminster around there sorted. I'll do that before I come, so that we can seize the thing and start operating. Okay? We'll set up a court of our own, and from Plymouth to there, and go to Westminster. So, okay. So that's all I want to say for now. A little bit long, but informative. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood where we are at the moment. Sorry for the long wait, and the shares of the Moai Tidal Energy Project has been held up, but as soon as we get to London, we'll open an account and a company with Matt and the others, and kick it off with Scotland first. The shares is already set up on the website, www.moaipowerhouse.com. Okay, so you can see it there, standing there with no driver. So somebody will do their job, and a lot of things we're doing has no driver. All the plans are good. So to the guys on the East Cape, you get those crayfish ready, you get those powers ready, and you get those kenners ready, okay? Otherwise I'm not coming. Just joking. But anyway, we should have a meeting as soon as I clear the bank with the overdrafts and be down there. We can sit there and talk about all the things that we've been planning for years, since 2000. All the planning for their developments. So I can do it on another video and put the plans up and bring them down and sit around and talk about it and get on with it. Okay, we should have something to start you off with. And for Matt in England, yep, we're looking forward to meeting you. Jamie's just chatting this morning, and she's fine. She's just doing a bit of work at the moment. Why she's not online, I said you don't have to be online anymore. It's all finished. We're just going to do the job. So to you and the others, thank you very much. So I hope you've got a little bit out of this. And the other one's commenting on Facebook on some of the things we're talking about. And there's another guy that wants from Ireland. He wants to for me to go on the radio. That's fine. So I said you set it up, no problem. Been on radio before, so there's no different in pushing things across. But it's in a good spirits. Okay, thank you very much. We'll catch you later. John, Auckland News. Have a happy day. Bye bye. See you later.